Alright, I said I wasn't going to do another kit until next year, but this one was cute. There's a little sneak peek. You want to see how I made it? Stay tuned. I was out and about doing my Christmas shopping, all innocent and all. And then this one, I saw this one in the store. I had to get it, and I had to do it. I noticed there's level markers now, and this is a level 3. And I can say from the future, it's fairly easy. So if you've done a couple kits, I think that you'll blast this out in no time. But we'll open the box. It's the usual instructions, safety things, don't eat the pieces, keep it away from small children, etc., etc. This one, of course, has a Christmas tree and all the parts and pieces. It is smaller than usual, and that's glue. It took me a while to figure what that was. And I personally was able to do it in about a day, working on it nonstop. So, if you took your sweet time, you'd probably do it in a couple days. It was really fun. It was fun. So, as I normally do with all these kits, I'm just going to open the book and start with the very first thing, page 1, item 1. We're going to start with the easiest thing on the whole thing. You get these 2 little tiny Christmas tree parts, put them together, a patau. You got an itty bitty Christmas tree. Alright, next up. That was easy, right? We're just going to make a ladder. There's only 3 parts to it. And so you just stick the 2 legs in the holes. It's pretty obvious where it goes. One prong, it's the square part in the round hole. You'll get it. This little kit, it's really cute. It's got a lot of little parts, so you're going to make, all the bits and pieces, the chairs, the tables, the awnings, all ahead of time, and then at the end it just all comes together. So this is another one of those parts, and it's just a little awning that goes over the door. So we're going to make this all ahead of time, so it's fun to put it all together at the end. We're going to make a little table. It's the only table in the whole bunch here. You just kind of jam it in, and if it feels loose, now this particular kit doesn't have glue. It just has that glue for when you put the snow on. It has double sticky tape, so I only used it if I felt it was kind of wibbly wobbly, or to stick down papers. Or if it was just way too loose, I dug out my regular glue. I'm sure if you've done a few of these kits, you've got a bunch of extra glue from old kits. That's what I use. If it just feels like, I want that to be a little more secure. So go by feel. But for the most part, I did use this double stick tape. It is kind of nice. This little table has a candelabra. It doesn't say this, but you had to put the little candles on there. Very straightforward. If you've had Barbie things and stuff like that, just stick it on. And then, or Legos. It's kind of like Legos. And then we're going to do a table setting. I like to do all the parts all together. For the table setting, the picture is in the very back, but it makes sense to do it now before we set the house. I like the way they lay out their plans or their instruction book. They kind of level you up every time. So they start with a super easy little tree, then the ladder, then the table. Now we're going to start ramping up just a smidge. It's not hard, it's just bigger. So we're going to make the fireplace and just follow the instructions until it looks like a fireplace. I don't punch out all the pieces all at once. I do it as I go. And this is case in point. So this little teeny tiny guy, this is a spacer so that keeps your little faux fire inset a little bit so it looks like it's inside. If I had punched all these pieces out, I would have lost that piece immediately. So just do it as you go. I do it in sections, so get all the parts for that particular project, then move on to the next one. Get all the pieces and parts for that one, etc. And then I still lose stuff, but I'm less likely to lose stuff that way. They call this a fence. It's, you know, the little fire grating in the front to protect pets and kids and people from falling into the fire, I suppose. And it's pretty straightforward. You just two sides. Now this thin black wood pieces, and there's this one, and there's a lantern and things like that. It's very thin and very easy to break. And I did notice that on the big piece that you punch them all out on, they have doubles, and I wondered why. After you make a couple of these pieces and break them, you realize why. So they do give you spares, which is really nice. Now we got a cute little lantern that goes out in the front, and that candle, it was a little awkward. So number one, don't worry if it's not perfect, because honestly, you don't even see the candle, hardly. So get it as best as you can. It bothered me that the little flame wouldn't match up with the wood piece. But just do your best, because once you get all the sides on, you hardly even see it. These pieces aren't too bad, but this is what I mean. They're very delicate, I would say. So don't be pushing your pliers on them and things like that, because you can break those little feet or arms that connect them together very easily. But don't worry, if you do break it, you can just glue it together. And right here is where I'll mean, see, it broke. There, but it's okay. That you could either replace that with a new piece or do like I did. I just glued it. Alright, now we're on to the doors and windows. There's not a lot in here, but there's a few. Enough, because it's kind of like a little corner vignette. So there is a door. Now these plastic pieces, I tried punching them out, and then I tried kind of using my X-Acto to cut them out. They were not easy, so I found the easiest for me was to cut them with my scissors. But it did take a little time to get those plastic pieces out. And they do have film on them, so make sure you take the protective covering off before you stick it on. And ta-da! We got all our doors and windows done. It's nice to get everything all done and then decoration time at the end. Alright, we're starting to build a few walls. So this one, we just stick the window in. Now, it didn't really say to glue it in, but when I put the window in, it was a little floppy and I didn't want it to fall out. So I did end up putting some double stick tape on the top arch there so that the window wouldn't fall out. We like secure projects, just in case they get bumped. Just in case. They will get bumped. We don't want them to fall apart. Okay, this is the back wall, and that's where the fireplace is. So we're going to kind of attach all our parts and pieces here. It's not too bad. It looks intimidating, but if you do it section by section by section, it's not that bad. And you have this teeny tiny little rivet. It does come into play. So you stick it in here. Took me a second because it was a little awkward, and it is tight. And you want to make sure it sticks out just a little bit because this is where we're going to tie our garland in. You'll see later on. And then you just punch in your parts and pieces. This is our fireplace chimney, and it does overlap, and it does that on purpose. It will fit exactly on that wood except for, a little overlap. So if you're going to use the double stick tape like I did, you're going to want to fold it or crease it over to the side and then double stick tape the edges as well. It does show. This is kind of the same as if you've seen the corner bookstore. The pieces are very tight, but these chunky pieces of wood, you can manhandle them all you want. So go ahead and jam it in there. They're pretty tough, but it ain't gonna go anywhere. And we're going to do all our frames on our pictures doing this now before you put it up is a lot easier. But worst case scenario, let's say you built it all and you're like, I forgot to put the frames on. No big deal. Just lay it down if you can, if you caught it before you put all the stuff in there, and then stick it on. It is double stick tape, so it's an instant stick, which is nice. And this part is for the battery pack in the back. And these pieces are super tight. I had to really hammer them in. Again, this part doesn't show, and the wood is really thick, so don't worry about just banging and using your pliers and asking a friend for help. But yeah, it's pretty secure and it ain't going anywhere. This is the roof. It's the only section that, you know, kind of indicates a roof. So you're just going to put these pieces on. It's like a giant puzzle. It really is. And I will say, the first time I did this, and I'm all confident doing it here, I did it backwards. But once I started stringing the lights, I realized, and it's easy to fix. There's just one light in here, and if you've done a few kits, ain't nothing. It's easy. You can do this. So the very first thing we do is we twist these wires together just to make our life easier. So just take one in and twist her up. Once you got that all twisted, and you just start stringing the parts, the little rivets, the light cover, and there'll be a little plastic tube, kind of like a straw, that you cut to size so that it hangs down straight for you. Now, once I got it all together, it does not say to glue it, and it doesn't provide glue, so I can imagine why it wouldn't do that. But I felt that it was a little wonky, so I did put a little dab of glue here and there, just to straighten it out and keep it secure. Alright, this is where I was stringing it, and I realized there's no hole on that side. It's supposed to be on the other side. Like I said, mistakes happen. Easily fixed. Flip it over, and there we go. All better. Now you'll notice that the wire kind of sticks up, so there is a slot on the next piece, and that is specifically so that that wire will fit right there. And then you just use those two little side pieces to stick it on. It all sticks together like a fancy Lego set. And this very top piece that just kind of covers all the holes and things is just a white piece of paper, to be honest. It does have a giant sheet where you can cut it out from, and that's where I cut that one from. But let's say you didn't want to use that, you could use any piece of white paper. It's nothing too special, in other words. And over the top of this piece, you're going to stick the little frame on top, and you got yourself the little roof, which then eventually you're going to cover with snow. So don't worry about perfection. It's going to get covered up. We're going to start building our framework. So we got the floor, make sure it's facing the right direction. Takes a second. And again, these pieces fit very tightly, so use all your might. Hammer, whatever you need to do. Don't break it though. For me, besides the end little table settings and stuff, building the wall is my favorite part. So putting up all the walls and seeing it all come together. And you just follow the directions here. This one's pretty straightforward. This corner area was my nemesis here. For some reason, it did not want to go together. I think it's because they're two different kinds of wood pieces, so one's painted and one's not, and it's a tight fit. It ain't moving. And then we're gonna put in the storefront, basically. This is another part where it didn't say to tape it or glue it or anything, but it is a little wibbly wobbly. So put your double stick tape where you feel And I did stick it up there and secure it. And we got our cute little door, and it does open and shut. You know, when little kids look at my little houses here, that is the first thing they go for, is trying to open the doors. So I'm glad that some of these actually do open and shut. Now this piece I did break the first time around, so I stuck it up, and I also noticed that I put it on there the correct direction, and then when I put the replacement on, I put it upside down. So I was wondering why my lantern was hanging a little low. It's because it's upside down. I did change it later. And this is the last piece of the building. Basically, this is kind of the summer version before it snowed. And then we'll go working on the inside. Alright, so this little house has a garland hanging from all these little hooks that we set up inside. And it's basically about, I think there's 2 pieces of string there, and we're just going to twist it up so it kind of looks like candy cane style, you know, red and white. And I'm just going to loop it here. They said to tie, they didn't really say to tie it or anything. So what I did is I made a little loop and tied it on there. I left the string long. I did trim that later on. But I want it to have enough slack so it kind of looks like, you know, you decorate your house for a birthday party or a Christmas party or something like that. And I just made a little loop, and then I put a dab of glue on each one of those when I was done. Now time to put all our little dingle dangles on. And you can put this any which way you want. We're getting closer. Now it's time to stick our little roof on. And there is a notch on that left-hand side, right, that fits perfectly the wire here. So you just want to line it up as best as you can and then smoosh it on there. Again, it's pretty tight. Alright, wiring. Everybody's favorite. It's not that scary, I promise. This one is actually the easiest one because there's only one wire, or one light, I should say. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this long yellow and white wiring. First, we're going to string it through that hole there. There is a designated hole. Kind of keeps it in line. They did kind of have where you could put some more of that straw, that white straw, kind of look like a, what do I want to say, a gutter. I didn't do it that way. You could do it either way. I felt it was just fine as just a raw wire in the back. Nobody's going to see the back anyway, except you. And then once you get it down to the size, I can use my fingernails. These wires are very thin, and I can just strip the plastic coating just enough so that I can put the two wires together. You just twist the correct line to the correct line. Test a lot before you seal it all up. Test. Okay, we did it right. Yay! And then I'm going to just wrap it up in electrical tape. They do provide the tape. Or you can use those shrink tubes, which I like to use too. I just didn't have them handy at this time, so I just used their little tape they provided. Just like that. Done. That wasn't hard. And the last piece is you just kind of tuck in all these wires, and then there's a little cover to it. To change the battery, you just take this cover off, and you could take the whole thing out if needed. It's a little tight, so I imagine I haven't had to change the battery yet, but you can just pop it off. Alright, we still have a few more pieces of furniture, and one, of course, is the little Santa chair. This is super easy. Don't even have to build anything. Just have to put the base to the top and put our little pieces on there. You do have to cut out a little fuzzy piece. This is the blanket or seat cover, however you want to call it. And just cut it to the shape. And even if you did your own shape, whatever would work. It's just a little blankie. Can't have a Christmas house without a Christmas tree, right? So they gave us a tree here. It's a little smushed. You can floof it out a little bit. And there's all the pieces that I probably lost half of them by doing that. So you just trim the bottom and then smush it into the base. I tried using the double stick tape, but it wouldn't stand up straight. So I did in the end up using my regular glue and just kind of propping it up to dry. And now we're gonna have fun decorating our little tiny tree. I will say, doing this little tree, and I used glue. I should have used the tape, to be honest, looking back, but I wanted it to be absolutely secure on this tree. So using the glue that I did, it does kind of take some patience because it doesn't stick immediately. So you kind of have to do a piece, let it stick, then do another piece, let it stick, that kind of thing. Gotta have the little star on top. I also use the branches kind of as a place to stick things too. And you can see the base fell right off. And so I put a little bit of glue and we're gonna prop that little guy up and let that dry. Just a few more accessories. These are mostly for the outside. So we're going to make this little bucket. Apparently we've been shoveling snow and we just put it in the bucket. If only that was all it took, right? So this was pretty straightforward. Just there's a little label on the outside. And then there is a wire. They kind of wanted you to strip the wire. I didn't do that. So what I did is I just cut it to size and then I bent it to the shape. And I left it solid black. I thought it looked just fine the way it was. Now they said to fill the bucket with tissues and cover with a layer of snow. I thought I'd be very clever and just use regular white glue and put a bunch of snow in there. Works just the same. And it made it a little heavier too. This was my favorite one. I like doing this little snowman. I'd do probably 15 million of these little guys. I don't know where you would find the little snowman shaped styrofoam though. I'll have to look around for that. But the hardest thing, if there is a hard thing on this, is just making the hat. And they give you a pattern. So just cut out a kind of a triangle shape here and then curl it up into a cone. I did like using the double stick tape for this because it's like instant stick. So that was nice. They kind of wanted you to, flop it over a little bit, but I liked it all cone shaped, so I just left it upright. I know you're singing the song. Do you want to build a snowman? After I built this little guy, I almost forgot to stick the little white piece around the mittens there. And it's just, I stuck the double stick tape on the white piece there and just wrap it around. There he is. So cute. We are almost done with all the building parts. There's just a few little teeny tiny pieces. This one's just a little bell with some holly in the back. So I'm going to use my tape. You're going to have to cut it down to size sometimes. So just stick it on and trim it up to the size. My scissors are getting really dirty. I think that's going to be some spring cleaning, is cleaning all my tools. But just a bow, holly, and there's a little bead on top. You can tell my bow fell off. So I had to re-stick it on because I had to put that little bead on top. Lots of little presents to do. These people have been very nice. The nice thing on these is it's all pre-creased pretty much. And you just have to build little tiny boxes. Put your double stick tape where it kind of needs it. You'll know when you build it, it kind of poofs up in some places, so you have to stick it down. But you're going to build a whole bunch of those. And the last thing you're going to do is build this little gift bag looking thing. And it's basically the same as the boxes. The only difference is the top part, you're just going to roll it down and then stick it down. Hey, you can't have a party without something to drink, so we're going to cut a slice of lemon to put on as our garnish on our glass. And you just cut this piece of clay here and a little notch and put it on the glass. Here you go. Cheers. And this one is just slices of all the lemons and limes for all the drinks that we're going to be making for this party. Or I guess they're kiwis. I'm not sure, but technically. But you're just going to slice it up as thin as you can and then just fill the little jar and put the lid on. If you feel like it, I think I did... No, maybe I left it open, but you can glue the little lid down if you think it's going to fall off. Again, I'm just doing all the parts and pieces before putting it together. So I do look through the entire book to see if I missed anything. And this one has a little sign on here. So we better make that one. Merry Christmas! And we're going to put together a little easy wreath. I didn't put the gold ribbon behind it. I just put it the wreath and the bow. I thought that was enough. Of course you need a Santa picture. And this one, super easy. Just stick the piece of paper onto the piece of wood. And there you go. And we do have one type of plant, and it's super easy. So you're going to cut out these little grass pieces and basically just roll them up into little evergreen bushes kind of thing. In the end, just make sure you floof them up. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Plants do their own thing anyway. And you got a bunch of plants. All right, we did the hard part, did all the pieces. So let's put it all together. First things first, we are going to put snow on everything. So, kind of have to think, where would snow fall? So I'm using this little glue pen, and I just glooped it all over the place and just started sprinkling. And again, you can do it however you want. They give you a generous amount of this little snow sprinkles, so just put it all over the place. Alright, now that our snow is all set and we make sure our door can open and shut, let's start putting all our pieces in. And there we go. We got the cutest little setting. Just ready to get warm by the fire, opening our presents, eat our cake and coffee. Sounds good to me. I hope you enjoyed this and you had a wonderful year and you have a wonderful Christmas if I don't see you. And I'll see you in the next video, probably next year. 2025 is coming. So thank you so much for your support throughout the year. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe. I got a lot of things brewing for next year. And you have a very Merry Christmas. Bye.